and not anything else. Now that we know that it is our belief in Jesus Christ that saves us, let's talk about the who, what, where, why, and how of salvation. I'm going to break it down just that way for you. Now, I was about 15 years old when I gave my life to Jesus Christ. I was approached by some street missionaries who challenged a group of us to play a basketball game, and they were real slick in how they were moving at us. They really did hustle us, and they hustled us because they lost the first game, and they did that on purpose. And then for the second game, they made a deal with us. So yeah, they knew what they were doing the whole time through. They were creative, and I got to give them that. I had no idea what was about to hit me. Anyway, they said that if we win, they'll buy us some subs. But if they win, this was the second game now, if they win the second game, they would sit, or that we would sit with them for 5 minutes to just have a talk. We said, well, okay, that's cool. Well, listen, you know how this story ends. They won the game, and then after the game, they shared the gospel message with me, and I said yes to Jesus and invited Jesus into my life for the first time ever. I was elated. Talk about being on cloud nine. I was so excited, and ever since then, I've been living for him, and I have not turned back. Now, I went through my periods of waffling and waving. I went through my periods, certainly, of doubting and all of that. But after a certain while, after I got closer and closer to Jesus Christ, I really just locked into him, and I saw how he's not only my source, but he's also my resource. And that's when I really began to see the beauty of being in relationship with the Lord and really allowing him to take over my life. Next to finding my wife and the birth of our daughter Trinity, the best thing that has ever happened to me is Jesus Christ. Straight like that. Anyway, here I am, a new convert in Christ, and I'm on fire for the Lord. I mean, when I say I'm on cloud nine, I'm like, wow, man, I didn't even know this. Now, both my parents were religious, so to speak. I mean, I certainly went to church. My dad was Catholic. My mom was Apostolic Holiness. And so it was really kind of crazy for me. I loved the Catholic Church because when we go to Catholic Church, we would only be in there for 40 or 45 minutes. And my mom's church, which was Apostolic Holiness, was the exact opposite of that. We used to go and we would be there for 3 or 4 hours at a time. And then we would come back in the evening for another 3 or 4 hours. Some of y'all know what that's all about. Anyway, I was not really churched, and I didn't really grow up in the church. And I didn't want anything to do with the church, to be honest with you. Anyway, I had just given my life to Jesus Christ, and I came to know him for myself. And I'm on fire for the Lord. And all I wanted to do was just share my faith and get people saved, because I wanted them to have what I had. When you have something good, you want to share it with other people so that they can share in your joy. Well, I guess some things have just not changed since I was 15. Since then, I am still in many ways that 15-year-old boy that is trying to tell everybody about Jesus. I am trying to tell everybody about a man named Jesus who saved my life and can save yours too. There was something about that experience that just left an indelible impression on this brother, and I have not ever turned away from him in such a way that I could not come back. And to be honest with you, the Lord would not let me get too far from him. He kept loving me back to himself. So even when I was disobedient, even when I was doing my own thing, and even when I had walked away from the church, there was something still inside of me that I just could not get rid of. And there was nothing like the love that I felt when I was in relationship with Jesus Christ. Anyway, the church that I was a part of when I got saved was a soul winning church. So they gave me a little card that I could use to help guide me in sharing my faith with others. So I hit the streets with a whole lot of zeal and my card in hand, and I went to the basketball court and I saw another brother just shooting around. I believe his name was Theo, and I thought to myself, I'm going to do to him what was done to me, and I'm going to go hustle him into talking to me. Anyway, I didn't have enough money to buy him a sub, so what I did have was $1. So I bet him $1. I said, if we play and he wins, he'll get the $1. But if I win, I would have 5 minutes of his time. So we played. Anyway, I'm reading off this little piece of paper, so that means that I won. Yeah. So we get off to the side, and I'm reading off of this piece of paper. I didn't even have a Bible with me, but I'm basically reading off of this piece of paper word for word. And eventually, I would get to what's called the call to action, or the call for action. That is, after you have just shared your faith and you have talked about and shared your own experiences, you get to that place, that decision time. The same way that at the end of a message for me, I invite you to invite Jesus Christ into your life. Well, that's called that's a call for action. Anyway, we get to the place where the call for action is just right there. I mean, he's prime and he's ready, and I could kind of sense it, but I wasn't sure. And at this time, the paper instructed me to ask him if he knows Jesus Christ, and he said that he did. And I said, "Oh, bet. Okay. Well," I said, "Well, do you want to know Jesus Christ? Do you want to have a relationship with Jesus Christ?" And he said, "Yes." He said yes. Now, I say it like that because I was not expecting Theo to say yes. I was expecting rejection. I expected to fail. So I went into it not really expecting for anything positive to happen, except for the fact that I would probably, just play a game. But I wasn't expecting a yes. I was expecting a no. Oh, I was beside myself because I really did not plan for him to say yes. Anyway, now that I think about that, oftentimes we plan for failure and not for success. You can never go into a game expecting to lose, because if you do go into that game expecting to lose, guess what? You're going to lose. You've got to go into the game expecting to win.